welcome back to the Spoony Stitcher channel. I'm Shannon the Spoony Stitcher. You're inside the Stitchery, and you are in the very first episode of my series, No Really, You Need Me. No Really, You Need Me is also known as Film Fridays. It has absolutely nothing to do with crochet. There might be something I crochet, and there might not. It has nothing to do with that. This is all about film. I love classic movies, and I want to tell you guys about some of my favorites. Some you might have heard of before, some you might have never heard of before. Others you might have completely forgotten they existed, but you've seen them like a long time ago. So a little bit of background. I grew up as an army brat, and I moved all over the world, and most of the places I moved were different countries. They didn't have a lot of English-speaking television, and so if they did, it was like, you know, TV land, like I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, Batman, Father Knows Best. That kind of television is what I grew up watching. And then some cartoons, also older, like Hanna-Barbera. I grew up with a lot of Hanna-Barbera. And yay, Hanna-Barbera. You know, we lived all over, and my parents were really big classic movie fans. That's what I grew up on. I mean, I was a 5-year-old with a crush on Gene Kelly. Although, to be fair, I think a lot of people had a crush on Gene Kelly. But I also had a crush on Kermit the Frog. It was a very confusing childhood. Anyway. So our relatives and friends would send us either recorded TV, you know, so we would see it like a year later or something, or they would send us classic movies. And that's what I grew up on, and I fell in love with classic movies, and I'm really, really thankful that I did, because I have an appreciation for every aspect of movies. I love lighting, I love staging, I love actors, I love, you know, the little things that costume designers put in there. Oh, that's fascinating to me. Different props and how they work. This is why I'm also a huge theater buff, because I love how all of that stuff works. In fact, some of my favorite theater moments are when I was a stage manager, or when I worked in the lighting booth, or when I worked just as a stagehand. I mean, I loved all of those experiences because behind the scenes is the best. All the secrets, so fun. Talking to the costume designers and what they decide to put in there, hearing all of those biographies, like Colleen Atwood. If you don't know who Colleen Atwood is in Hollywood, she designs the best costumes. She designed Into the Woods. She designed all the Harry Potter and, more importantly, Fantastic Beasts costumes, all of the gorgeous 20s outfits. Oh, yeah. I think she did Marie Antoinette. I mean, she does period costumes like nobody else. And then in old Hollywood, it was Edith Head. She was the queen of costumes. Just I could spend forever talking about costumes. I just think it's fascinating. So anyway, back to movies. So I have an appreciation for all of that. When I was in high school, I did a full report. It was huge. It was like the entire biography of Alfred Hitchcock. If you've seen any of my videos where I'm in my room, that poster above my head I made, it is a collage spiraled out like Vertigo of his life and his movies. I designed it, I made it. I might take a big picture of it one day so you guys can see. Maybe we'll have a day where we talk about Alfred Hitchcock on here, so maybe that'll be, you know, relevant. But I love Alfred Hitchcock. He's my favorite director ever. He really was obsessed with his films. Yeah, it hurt his home life a little bit, but it was amazing. He did amazing things. Just fascinating how his mind worked. So he was so meticulous on everything he picked. Oh. Now, it is spooky season, so I'm obviously going to, for this month, I am going to focus on, you know, the spooky movies. But they're not scary. I don't do horror. The only kind of horror I do is like B horror, where these special effects are so bad. Like Bela Lugosi's Dracula with the little bat puppet. You can see the string, and if you can laugh at it, you know, I like it. But I don't like gory. I don't like grotesque. I don't like, you know, horror for horror's sake. I don't like any of that. You won't see any of that on this channel. So we're gonna talk about like spooky movies, you know, like Tower of Terror, Radioland Murders, Clue, Poirot, murder mysteries and stuff for this month. November, yeah, let's face it, we'll probably start with Christmas because, pretty much as soon as, November 1st hits, people are like, Christmas! I mean, so we'll have to see. But I wanted to give you guys a little introduction on what Film Fridays, or No Really You Need Me, is all about. So where does No Really You Need Me come from? When I lived in Alaska, I had a blog, and I had a blog educating people from my generation and younger about classic film. But I wrote about comparing old and new films and, showing how the older films would do subtler things and they wouldn't just like tell you, hey, this is the main character and shout it out. You had to figure it out yourself. Or, oh, you thought that was the main character. No, it wasn't. And they did clever things like that. So I think older film is better. Sorry, I just do. But I used to have a blog that did that, and it took a lot of time to make that blog, and I had fun doing it, but it was a lot of work. And when I came here, which was years later, a lot of years, over 10, a lot of years, my mother and I were having a conversation one day, and I was like, I was telling her, I said, it was kind of like I was telling my friends, oh, okay, you think that's film. Oh my gosh, why do you think that is such a good film? It is so bad, but it's not the good kind of bad. It's just awful. And it's like, oh, you need me in your life. And it's like, no, really, you need me. And my mom started cracking up, and she's like, you need to do that on your channel. You need to tell them, no, really, you need me in your life to tell you about the good films. So that's where the name came from. Now, I might have some crochet, I might not. This is not about crochet, this is about film. This is about to tell you guys about some of my favorite films that maybe you want to watch. And also, they're really easy videos for me to make because I know a lot about film. You might be surprised. I know a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I love that kind of thing. So October, expect murder mysteries, Alfred Hitchcock thrillers, spooky, silly movies, like, Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy, although that probably won't be on here. But Tower of Terror, that's a good one. Radioland Murders, Clue, all of those silly movies and stuff are probably something I will talk about. But you'll have to come back each week to find out what I'm going to talk about. So this won't be every Friday. It might be for this month because I've got enough movies I can talk about, but it will be on a Friday, hence Film Fridays. That's what the little mini-series is about. I'm going to talk about movies, and you guys comment below. We can have a discussion. You guys can tell me, if you've seen the film, or you can make suggestions. Yes, you can. You can make suggestions about films I should talk about and tell other people. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked our very first episode, introduction episode to Film Fridays. No, really, you need me. Please have a wonderful weekend and have a fabulous spooky season. Don't forget to come back. I've got lots of videos this month. It's my birthday month, so I like to go big. Remember, life happens, yarn helps, and spoonies can stitch it up too. Bye.